Hi and welcome back. Welcome to this video about using eBay's market research tool. In this video, I want to show you how you can use eBay's market research tool to determine if your products have potential to sell on the international market. There is only one requirement in order for you to use eBay's market research tool, and that is that you have created an eBay business account. Before I start with the demonstration, as usual, let me answer a couple of questions that sellers ask me frequently. Question number one: why do I need eBay's market research tool? There are two good reasons for this. Reason number one is that eBay's market research tool allows you to understand whether there's demand for your product on the international market. Reason number two is that the market research tool also allows you to understand what kind of prices are being charged for your type of product on the international market. Question number two: how much does it cost? eBay's market research tool is free, but you need to be registered as an eBay business seller. Let's start the demonstration. As you know from the previous videos, I have already created my eBay for Business account. For this demonstration, let's assume that I'm a seller that's based in Uzbekistan, and I'm trying to sell traditional Uzbek knives on the international market. Let's find out if there's a demand for Uzbek knives in the market. First, let's hover over my eBay, then click on Selling to go back to the Seller Hub. Now, let's click here on Research. Let me enter my product here. Let's go ahead and click on Research. eBay will now immediately show me a summary of the sales in the past year for the product Uzbek knife. Let's look at the results. Between January 2021 and January 2022, there were a total of 239 Uzbek knives sold on eBay from 22 sellers, and the total sales volume was roughly $12,000. So that's the answer to my first question. Is there a market for my product? Yes. Let's look at question number two. What is the market price for my product? The eBay research tool tells me that the average price was roughly $50, and there was an average shipping cost of roughly $14. So it's great if we have an understanding of what the average price is. However, if you look at this information, you can see that the price range goes from $15 for the cheapest knives to over $240 for the most expensive knives. The product that I'm trying to sell here is really high quality, and I want to sell it for at least $80 to $90. So how can I find out if that kind of price is competitive? I'm interested to look at the more expensive knives. How can I do that? The eBay market research tool actually gives me a list of all the sold items, and I have the possibility to filter here by sold price. So let me click on this. And I can now see the list of knives ordered by the highest to the lowest price. So what I'm going to do next is look at each of these knives individually. I want to have a look at the most expensive one here. I'm going to open a new tab for it. I want to look at another knife that was sold for about $149 here. I'm going to open another tab, and then maybe let's have a look at this knife here that was sold for about $106. I can now go through the list of these products until I find a product that looks most similar to mine. In my case, the product from this competitor here seems to be most similar to mine in terms of the size of the knife and the quality. That's it. You already know the basics of how to determine the competitive price and demand for a product. In the next video, let's look at selling fees on eBay and determine if you can make a profit. Let me take some time now to answer a couple of frequently asked questions about more advanced features of the eBay market research tool. The first question I usually get is, who are my competitors and what country are they from? To find out, we can use the filter here and look at the seller location. Let's scroll down until we find Uzbekistan. So it looks like of the 239 knives that were sold last year, 173 were sold by sellers based in Uzbekistan. It looks like 40 knives were sold by sellers in the United States, and so on. So you can basically go through the list to find out what country the sellers are from. If you want to find out more about your competitors, you can also scroll through the list here, click on any particular item, and you can bring up the product, which will also bring up the information about the seller. So if I click here on the seller profile, I'm able to find out more about the seller. In this case, for example, this is a seller that's based in Uzbekistan, has been on eBay since 2017, and I can even go and look at the seller's items by clicking here on items for sale. So this will give me an overview of all the inventory of this seller and the price points that that seller sells at. Question number 2 is, can I look at markets individually? The answer is yes. For example, if I want to know the demand on the German market, I can just change the site up here to the right, and I can drop down until I see ebay.de, which is eBay's site in Germany. Now I can do the same search again. Of course, because it's the German market, I will have to search in German. Let's click search. And I can now see the same data for Germany. If we compare to the market in the United States, we can see that the sales volume is a little bit lower, but the competition is also much less, only 5 sellers. And what's pretty interesting as well is that it seems like the average selling price is a little higher in Germany versus the United States. Again, I can scroll down and look at my competitors individually. Let's look at this first one. And I'm able to find out more about this competitor by clicking here on seller details. So in this case, this is a seller that's based in Germany, has been on eBay since 2015. And again, if I want to, I can click here to see all the products from this particular seller. Question number 3 is, what if I don't find any competitors on eBay? I want to take the example of Sherduck carpets. Let's search for Sherduck and click on search. Now it shows me a list of products, but if I click here on sold items, there are no results. This could mean 2 things. Either there is no demand on the US market for Sherduck carpets, or it could be that the active listings, the products currently listed on eBay, are simply not competitive enough and not interesting enough to the potential buyers. By going through this list, I can see that most of the Sherduck carpets are well above $500 US. So it seems like this price is just too high for potential buyers on eBay. Question number 3 is, in which cases should I not sell on eBay? Essentially, whenever the market is too competitive and prices are too low, it's not a good idea to start selling on eBay. This is typically the case for widely available mass market products. Let me give you an example. I once worked with a seller that was looking to sell women's shirts on eBay. Let's do the research. If we look at the demand, this is actually a quite significant market. However, the problem is we're competing against a lot of sellers, almost 200,000 sellers. And that means that the consequence is that the prices are quite low. So on average, a women's shirt on eBay is sold for about $16. At such low prices, it's just not possible to compete, especially if you have to send your products from Central Asia into one of your target markets. My recommendation will always be that you should focus on products that are hard to find and unique, just like the products from the sellers on the eBay Central Asia hub. Now that you know about eBay's market research tool, let's find out more about eBay selling fees and how you can set your price.